Hello everyone. Today I'll be talking about one of the most common misconception people have about Hinduism, and that is regarding the number of gods there are, which are being practiced in Hinduism. A lot of people claim that there are more than 30 million gods, and this extreme level of polytheism in Hinduism makes it totally incompatible with other relatively newer religions which are monotheistic in nature, like Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. And through this video, I would like to share my views about what I've identified about this topic going through the main Vedic texts. So, first of all, I'd like to talk about why there is so much confusion about how many gods there are in Hinduism. And I think the main reason why this confusion arises is because for the newer religions, there is a single book which is being followed. For example, the Jews have the Torah, Christians have the Bible, and the Muslims have the Quran. And on the other hand, Hinduism is a much older religion and it is built upon innumerous Vedic texts which were carried forward from countless generations, and sometimes this was handed over orally. And also considering the wide size of India, there are several differences between the regional adaptations. For example, the Ramayana, which you would find in northern parts of India, would differ from the Ramayana, say, which is being followed by the Tamilians in the south, or by the Bengalis in the east, or the Marathis in the west. In many cases, you would even find characters which appear in a certain Ramayana but do not exist in the other versions. And due to such differences and varieties, in when these texts passed from different regions and areas across India, there were subtle differences created between the different versions. And there was also some confusions about which of these deities mentioned in the text are gods, which are demigods, and so on. Many people claim that there are over 30 million gods, but I think this number, they also include the Gram Devta. Gram Devta were local gods which were specific to a particular village or a small town. And some people consider this number somewhere around 100 to 300, while some people consider it to three, counting the trinity of Brahma, the creator, Vishnu, the preserver, and Shiva, the destroyer. If you ask people who can be considered the supreme god, then there's also a difference of opinion, because some people who belong to the Shaivite sect who consider Shiva as the supreme, while Vaishnavites might consider Vishnu as the supreme. And there are still several other groups which may consider Kali, Durga, or Ganesh to be supreme. And so, but if we come back to the main principle about how many gods exactly are there, then if we go through all of the principal texts, the Vedas and the Puranas, then we realize that all of them have the same conclusion, that there is a single supreme God, and who in turn created the trinity of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva to work towards creation of life on earth, sustenance of this life, and destruction of the life, so the next cycle can begin. And this supreme God, or the almighty powerful being, which was described in all these texts, was described as being too complex to be understood by mortal humans, and it was said that it can only be felt and understood by a very selected few people who have achieved divine enlightenment through rigorous meditation. And when we look at this core definition, then this is very similar to the basis of other monotheistic religions like Jews, Christians, and Muslims. Because even the Torah, followed by Jews, mentions that the supreme God is impossible to be comprehended by humans, and even Christianity says that Bible has the teachings of Jesus, who was considered the Son of God, but they do not go into too much detail about describing or trying to decipher God Himself. And the same is the case with Islam, where Muhammad is a prophet or messenger of the Supreme God, but they also don't go into too much details trying to describe how the Supreme God is or what his characteristics are. And also, if we compare in terms of the timelines, Islam is not even 1,400 years old, Christianity is about 2,000 years old, and Judaism is a bit older than Christianity. But when we compare it to Hinduism, they are much newer, because Hinduism, even if you go by the most conservative estimates, they date the Vedas to be more than 5,000 years old, and there are several other estimations which date it to be much older than that. And while there are several differences within the different sects inside Christianity, like Protestants and Catholics, and even in Islam between Shias and Sunni, but with Hinduism being much older, there have not been any serious differences between the different school of opinions which follow the different gods. There are occasionally some confusion regarding, some people consider a particular deity which they consider their Isht Devta or their main god which they worship to be the most supreme, while other group, depending on which region or area or group of thinking they belong to, might consider some other god. But to get a clear understanding of this, we need to understand how this hierarchy of gods is detailed in the Vedas. Because all the religious texts prescribed by Hinduism, they define that the supreme God, which created the trinity of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, is beyond human comprehension and can only be understood by the select few who have attained enlightenment. And this supreme God in turn created Brahma to create the world and all the beings in this world. And Vishnu's duty was basically to sustain this life which was created by Brahma. And Shiva's role was as a destroyer, that one cycle of life was complete, so he can destroy that so a new cycle can begin. The main reason why there is this confusion about how many gods are there is because people confuse the differences between what is a divine entity, which is a demigod, which is a holy incarnation, which are the superhuman entities described in the different text, to be God himself. They need to differentiate between how is the supreme God differentiated between the other divine beings in these religious texts. So once people realize that, then they would understand that even in Hinduism, the supreme God or the almighty power is defined as a single entity. I hope this video gave you some more clarity about any confusions you had about how the gods are defined in Hinduism. If there's something you want to share, do let me know in the comments. Thank you.